So you've ruined your life. Now what do you do? Hi, I'm Eleanor, and in this week's episode of the Intuition Lab, I'm going to talk about what to do and how to get your life back or just back on track after you think you've just made a mess of everything using your intuition. So let's just put it out there. Have you really made a mess of your life? And I'm not going to try and convince you that no, you haven't, because, yeah, sometimes we really, really, really screw up our lives. Maybe you went to some sort of reunion, saw an old friend, or were just cleaning up around the house, and you found something from your past that reminded you of better times, or if not better, at a time in your life where it just felt like there was a lot more possibility open to you. And you think, oh, I've lost everything. I don't even know where to begin. So I would say one of the first things to do is to just ask yourself, where did I lose that enthusiasm? And I'm not asking you to go down memory lane or a huge list of where everything went south. But part of the key to finding our enthusiasm for life, I'm not saying you have to wake up super happy, but you do have to have that motivation to improve things in your life instead of just beating yourself up. I think it's important to identify what you've lost. What have you really lost? Is it a piece of yourself? And one of the best examples of this is after like a love affair that's gone wrong, you think, I'll never love that way again. There was just something so raw, open, and honest about me at that point in my life. And I think it's been destroyed. And to that, I'd say, well, it hasn't been destroyed, probably bruised, right? And it's true, you may never love that way again. You may never have that situation again, but you will love again. So, have you lost a piece of yourself? Have you lost your enthusiasm? Have you lost your optimism? What have you lost? I think you may also miss, and this is true of me, you may miss who you were, especially when you were younger and things felt possible, or if the world hadn't gotten to you yet. For those of us who had difficult childhoods, it might feel like we never had a chance to have that sort of freewheeling spirit about us. But I do miss that sense of possibility I had 2, 3 decades ago. I know that almost anything is still possible now, but even though I'd had really, really difficult experiences, I thought I could just get up and do anything. You might also have lost who you were before trauma. So if you had a single traumatic event or a few traumatic events, you might think, I can never recover that person again. Or if you were like me, as I said before, and your early life was filled with a lot of trauma, you might miss who you could have been if circumstances, if the people around you, if life had been different. And we might also regret choices we've made and the paths not taken as a result of this. You might wish you'd taken that job or that you'd not broken up with that person, or if you'd chosen to turn right instead of turn left. These all represent the loss of possibility. And from a more metaphysical point of view, it does reflect choices either made by you or for you by other people that closed off other avenues in your life that could have been quite wonderful for you to pursue. And I'm not asking you to pretend it didn't happen. I'm asking you to admit, like, yes, there has been a loss. And if you can just center yourself and ask that your intuition show you, is there anything I lost as a result of these opportunities that I need in my life right now? Because sometimes we lost opportunities, but those were opportunities for previous versions of ourselves or versions of ourselves we weren't allowed to grow into. So it's acknowledging the lost and making note of anything that you really need to bring forward into this time in your life. And later in this episode, I'm going to do a quick meditation on this. So, how do you get yourself back or get yourself back on track? I choose to think of this as self renewal rather than I have to fix everything I messed up. Because focusing on what you messed up, doing it from that space is really negativity bound. And sometimes we need a dose of reality and even a little bit of negativity, right? But I think it's better to see it as renewing yourself. So, if like me, at points in your life you were in really good shape and you got out of that shape for whatever reason, I'm not going to be that person again, but I'm going to renew myself and I'm going to be the best person I can be now. And maybe I'll be that size again. Maybe I won't, but I will be a fitter version of me. So think of it as self renewal rather than trying to repair everything. Because sometimes we need to tear stuff down and rebuild instead of fixing. And that goes against my whole secondhand loving heart. But if you have lost everything, it's really hard. And I understand that. And I know what it's like to lose almost everything. But again, even if you magically wave a wand and get everything you lost back, it's not going to be the same because you've changed. People around you have changed. Circumstances have changed. What we're going to do instead is to see the paths open to you right now and in the near future. So, if you have lost your home, there's going to be a lot of trauma and fear and sadness and anger around that. But what paths are open to you now? If you thought, I might go to this place, I might move somewhere else. Now, assuming you have the finances to do it or can get help in that other location, but it is an opportunity, it is something you can consider now that you don't have this one thing tying you down. I'm not pretending that, oh, it's great that you've lost everything, but if you dwell on what you've lost, you are not going to move forward and you're just going to hurt yourself. So it's important to ask your intuition to help you identify what paths are open to you now and in the near future. Because I'm going to admit that some people make 5 or 10 year plans. I make 3, 6, 9 month plans because even though I see the big picture, for me, in terms of achieving something, I do much better in the short to midterm, instead of having a 5 year plan. I know where I would like to go, so I might have a big goal, but I don't have it broken down in minutia. But I do see the paths that are open to me now and what's open in the next 3, 6, 9, even 12 months. Another way to get yourself back on track or renew yourself is to identify who you want to be versus who you are today. So if some of the loss or the screwing up is a result of who you are now, do you still want to be that person? And I think it's really important to ground and center yourself. Another line of inquiry to tap into your intuition and ask is to be shown, who am I ultimately? Like, who am I right now? And you might hear words, you might see an image of yourself, and that will help you see what paths you take. Let's say, for whatever reason, you were convinced that you wanted to be a baker, right? Just a crazy example. But maybe you're allergic to flour flying everywhere, you burn your hands in the oven, and you kind of hate it, but you still have all the baking pans, all the cake decorating things, all of the rolling pins, all the dough whisks, that KitchenAid mixer you never use. That's, who you are today. Maybe you're the thwarted baker, but do you want to be a better baker? So is it just a case of learning, like taking an online course or finding someone who's a great baker and asking if they can teach you what you are lacking? Versus who you want to be. If you want to be that great baker, great. If you realize that's not really who I want to be, I'd much rather be a short order cook, then, you know, sell the KitchenAid, sell the cake pans, you know, go learn how to be a short order cook. Maybe start your own channel cooking on a grill. I don't know, on a griddle, more like, right? If you're a short order cook. That's like a sort of a dodgy example, but it's just who do you want to be in the future versus who you are now? And what's the gap? And don't let that, when you're in this sort of, intuitive tapping in space, don't let the gap discourage you. Just know that it's there to show you what needs to be done. And also to my wanting to be a baker, example, it's making peace with who you thought you would be. If you thought you would be this great baker and cake decorator or a great pastry chef, and as it turned out, you were all thumbs in the kitchen, you need to make peace with that. Um, I have friends who wanted to have children but could not, and for whatever reason chose not to adopt. It is a loss of a potential persona, and they went through a lot of pain and heartache, and in some cases, counseling to come to terms with that, coming to terms with who you thought you would be. And I'll just tell you a quick personal story about myself. When I applied to colleges, and this was in the early 90s, I got into a couple of Ivy League and an Ivy League caliber school. But believe it or not, back in the day, students could not borrow the vast sums of money they can now. And I could not have borrowed more than like a year and a half's worth of tuition. And my parents were not in a position and not willing to take on that level of debt. So if I'd known more, I probably would have gone back, asked for more aid, but I didn't really know that at the time. So I went to an okay school that heavily scholarshiped me. And for years, I felt inferior to my friends who'd gone to the good schools, just feeling like I'd missed out, like I had to redeem myself somehow to be able to still be friends with them. And I just basically absented myself from a lot of people I knew because I felt ashamed. I thought I would be this great academic or doctor, and I did not go to the school or schools that I wanted to, that I felt I should have gone to, and I let it color my life for a long time. But I've since made peace with that. I mean, time, I wouldn't say it's a great healer, but it can also be a great illuminator. I mean, some of my friends who went on to Ivy League schools have made a lot of money. Some have not. Some have made messes of their lives, regardless of where they went to school. Some people who went to the humbler schools have successful businesses, beautiful families, and in some ways, I'm a little jealous of some of those people because they have things that I wanted that I currently don't have, but it's on me to get that, right? But I've made peace with that part of myself. I still wish, what if? I still wonder, but I'm not going to let it define me and hobble me the way I did. I would say the heart of fixing your life, and I know I said not to use it, but it's a good term, is to get real with yourself. And here's where your intuition really comes into play. You need to get real with what really matters now. So I suggest, doing the grounding and centering I talk about all the time, taking in a deep, deep breath and letting it out like I just did. Because sometimes talking about this stuff, you know, triggers strong responses in me. But when you get real, here are the things that you need to tune into your intuition and ask yourself what really matters now. And be ruthless when you write things down. And it may be far less than you think, and things that you didn't really think were important are, and vice versa. I would set a timer for 3 to 5 minutes, do some automatic writing, or just ask yourself questions and, have your voice recorder on your phone. Or if you want to do it real old school and you trust someone else with your innermost thoughts, to have them write down what you say, like your stream of consciousness that's, coming through while you're tuning into your intuition. But, make a list of these things and review them and see which ring the most true to you. What cause sort of like a recognition inside of you, like, yes, this is what matters now. And then the next thing to ask yourself is, what do I do next? What do I do next? So you don't waste your time. You don't go down roads of what you should do. Like sometimes in some practices, like 12-step programs, which are great for some people, not so great for others, they talk about, apologies, making restitution if it's safe. And sometimes you're just not in a point to do that. It doesn't mean, and sometimes you just shouldn't because it would cause more trouble, right? But realistically, looking at what do I do next if I have made this mistake? And I think most of us will receive like 3 to 4 immediate instructions from our intuition about what to do. The next is, what do you need? What do you need right now? Do you need money? Do you need time? Do you need resources? Do you need a friend? Do you need a shoulder to cry on? Do you need a safe place to sleep? You need to get clear on these 3 things: what really matters, what to do next, and what you need. And your intuition is the best way to validate these things, because when we go outside of ourselves, it can be helpful to gather other opinions, to gather data, to talk to people who've walked the walk that we're doing now, right? But you need to be the final judge of all of this. You and your intuition need to be the final judge of what you need to do right now. So I'm going to do a really quick meditation, maybe 5 minutes, something I haven't done on the podcast before. So let me know what you think. So, if it's safe right now to meditate, take a pause, breathe in, and just see yourself somewhere safe. It feels safe to you. And there's a force field around you, or like a glowing egg shaped shell that keeps everything that is harmful and scary out right now. And any energy of yours that is not helping you determine your purpose and what to do next is just put away for now to deal with later. You're going to breathe in and breathe out. Now imagine you've got a lap tray, or you're at a table. I almost see it as one of those TV tables you can bring up to your couch and like eat in front of a TV, or just, work on a laptop or something. Right now, you are going to be shown what really matters. It's literally going to be put in front of you. Maybe it's a little diorama showing what actually is important right now. Maybe it's a book that you just see the lines, what I really need right now is, what's really important right now is. There should be between like 3 to 5 options, maybe fewer. And then next, you're going to be shown what's really necessary for your soul's growth right now. Who are you? Who do you need to become? And it will show up in front of you either as like a small representational object, a diorama showing it, a sheet of paper with the words, or maybe you just hear it spoken to you. What do you need? Who do you need to be? Who are you becoming? And what do you need for your soul's growth right now? This is on the energetic plane. Do you need reassurance, nurturance, love? Whatever it is you need, the essence of it will be distilled and shown to you. And just imagine it's right there for you to access at any time. Maybe it's all shrunk down into a little vial you can carry on you. You can just take a little sniff of it whenever you need it, or sip. And now that we've looked at your energetic body and your energetic plane of existence, we're going to take a look at what do you need for your physical growth right now? Is it a resource? Can even be something as abstract as time. Is it money? Is it a helping hand? Is it a meal delivery service? Do you maybe need someone to go on like a 3 mile walk with you every day? What do you physically need? And see that being given to you in front of you. And because this is the physical plane, it's even tangible. You can experience it in your body. So if you need time, maybe you just see someone putting a watch in your hand, like here's the time you need. You can turn it back or forwards as you need. If you need money, maybe someone just puts a gift card or a stack of cash right in your hand. Or maybe you imagine logging into your bank account and seeing the funds you need. Do you need a hug? You just have someone come and give you a hug or support, whatever that looks like or feels like to you. So now you know what you need, and it's all being summarized for you. What matters? What's necessary for your soul right now? What's necessary for you on this physical plane? It's like it's all typed up on a sheet in front of you or your phone. Or maybe someone's just sitting in front of you and saying, this is what you need, distilling it, making it abundantly clear, and in a way that you can recall it as you need it. Now that you know what you need, let's take a little time to do some cleanup. So imagine all the mess you made, and you may need to come back to this meditation. But just imagine an army of cleaners coming in. It can be everything from the little birds in that old Cinderella film to just seeing people coming in with brooms and vacuum cleaners or excavators if you've made that much of a mess, and just scooping it all away, clearing it up, putting it into dumpsters, hauling it off. The mess, the regret of not having what you want, the paths not taken, the time and opportunity and everything you've lost that's not serving you, that doesn't need to come forward with you. You're going to box it up and you're going to see some of it being hauled away forevermore because you're just done. Some of it's being packed up and maybe put into storage. You may have more or less of it, and that just means you need to come back to it. But don't try and hold on to it. And then the merest bits of regret and hurt or shame are just being dusted off of you and vacuumed up, kind of like if you ate something with crumbs and it's all over you and you stand up and brush yourself off. Or you use one of those old-fashioned mini whisks to clean off your table or just vacuum it off between meals, just wiping it away. Because some of the things we've lost are gone forever and we don't need them. And others we need to deal with later. Or we may come back to it and just decide we're done, and that box can just be chucked in that magical bin to be taken away. And some things are just temporary losses. We can brush them off again and get something else crumbly to eat next time. And now I want you to breathe in and out The tray in front of you or table goes away, but you still have your little vial of what's needed for your soul growth and your summary, either printed or on your phone, or like a voice message you can play to yourself over and over again, telling you what you need. You're going to breathe in and out and see yourself getting up out of that chair and walking back into your daily life with that protective, energetic shield still around you as you renew your life. That feels so good to me. I hope it feels good to you too. So please let me know how this little meditation went. If you are interested in more meditations like this, please like and subscribe and share this podcast. And if you would also like access to real tip sheets to help you deal with things or access your intuition or apply your intuition, or you'd like help with a particular problem you're experiencing, I encourage you to join my group Pathfinders, which is a free Telegram based group where once a week I put down a weekly prompt for discussion about an intuitive topic. And then I check in with another couple of exercises during the week just to see how you're going. And once a month, I'm going to do a live Q&A mini reading session. So if that sounds good to you, I invite you to sign up at the link in the show notes. And if you really are struggling with something and you think you really need an in-depth look at it, I invite you to join me for a one-on-one clarity session. Links to that are also in the show notes. But in the meantime, I'm sending you so much love. Know that you can come back from almost anything. I have, I know you can with the right help, the right resources. You can do it. All is not lost. I'll see you soon. Bye.